morning. I'm a little dressed down today because I feel abundant and prosperous. Seriously, I have this medical condition that comes up every now and so often, and it is extremely painful. And so I woke up this morning and I could barely walk, and there it was, and I was struggling, just struggle bussing and getting all my stuff ready, and I got my guitar and my bag and all this, and I start heading out the door, and just sweat pouring down, and I step out on the front porch, and my car has a flat tire. And I laughed. I just laughed. I'm like, that's awesome. That is really funny. So I set my stuff down, and I backed my car out and pulled my wife's car, pulled my car back in, so I'm, thank goodness we have two cars. And then I started to load up the car, and naked David comes running out of the house. Dad, are you going to the center? I said, yeah. He said, I want to come. So you know what? Perfect timing. It's a good thing I had a flat tire, or I would have left, right? So how prosperous and abundant is that? Okay.
And David is here.
He is here. He's with Janet right now. They're up there enjoying our children's center. So just want to say hi, Heather Rose. Hi. Hi, Jim and Nan Heitzberg. Hi. So happy to see all of you. So we have been talking about abundance all month. Last week we talked about abundance and relationships. And today we're going to talk about abundance and prosperity. And next week, Liz Martinez is going to talk about abundance and health. You know, Nancy Berggren started us off with the source of abundance, and then the last Sunday of August, I'm going to be speaking on abundance and something else. So it's going to be great. All right. So John Randolph Price, he is the writer of the Abundance book. You may recognize that from if you're doing that 40 Days of Prosperity program that we're doing right now. I think we're on like day 28. You may have gotten a call from me this morning. He wrote the Abundance book, and he says, you are the wealth of the universe individualized. The only limitations you have are the ones you impose on yourself. And I like that. It's pretty direct, and it's the absolute truth. So I'm going to look at prosperity today through the 4 steps of prosperity laid out by Edwina Gaines, and we'll go through those. They are, you must tithe 10% of all that you receive to the person, place, or institution where you have received your spiritual food. 2, you must set clear-cut, tangible goals. 3, you must forgive everyone all the time, especially yourself. And 4, you must seek, discover, and follow your divine purpose. And I love those 4 steps because it says a lot about what abundance is. And remember that abundance is the free and full expression of the divine life through us. One more time. Abundance is the free and full expression of the divine life through us. That is what abundance is. And remember that prosperity is not just about money. So if you're thinking in your head, I know somebody who's not doing the forgiveness thing, and yet they're quite wealthy, that's not abundance. That's wealth. And if you want to be rich, right, and you don't care about happiness or, your quality of life or something like that, well, you live in a nation of great opportunity. So you can go out and you can work hard, like really hard, and save and invest and put your entire focus on making money, right? Every waking minute of every day, and don't sleep for too long, and you will have a good chance of getting the wealth you want. But you might end up being Ebenezer Scrooge. You might find out you've squandered the most precious treasure you have for a treasure far less valuable and totally impermanent. There was this man and his father, and they went to a cemetery to visit the father's old friends. And the man asked his father, "Why are all of your friends in the cemetery, but you're not?" And his father said, "An old monkey never puts his hand in the pot." Do you know this saying? Do you know that saying, Dan? Is that familiar to you? No? "I don't understand," said the man. Well, his father explained, "In India, hunters make a small hole in a coconut. They put a banana inside and they bury the whole thing. And a monkey will find the coconut and put their hand in the hole to grab the banana, but then can't get it out because their closed hand is too big for the hole," right? And so instead of letting go of the banana, the monkey stays there wrestling with the impossible and gets caught. "But what does this have to do with you and your friends?" the man asked. "The same thing happens in our lives," his father explained. "The need to have a particular thing, often something small or useless, ends up making us prisoners of that need, and we stay there wrestling with the impossible until we get caught." And I think that's a valuable story when we're talking about prosperity. There's nothing wrong with prosperity, and as Jamie mentioned, sometimes people think that money is evil, and it is absolutely not evil, but desperation for money and wanting and needing and the endless need to fill something in yourself with things, this can be an issue. So these 4 steps that Edwina Gaines lays out addresses this, I think. Ready? Let's dive in. So the first one, why do we tithe? I know you can't get enough of hearing about tithing, and I love talking about it. So tithing creates a consciousness of wealth, right? Tithing doesn't say, "I don't have enough." Tithing says, "I have more than enough." Tithing says, "I am willing to support what nourishes me and gives me what I need because I know the universe nourishes me and gives me what I need. I know that I am, as John Randolph Price says, I am the wealth of the universe individualized. The only limitations I have are the ones I impose on myself." And tithing goes back a long ways, right? In the Bible, God made people sacrifice the best animal of their flock. And they didn't just give it away. They burned it. They had to lose a portion of their income and then smell how delicious it would have been. I mean, that'd be like if you tithed here and then I was standing up here like decked out in gold and jewels, right? And I can guarantee you that we won't be using any of your money to make me rich, right? We will be fixing our roof and buying more materials for classes. And actually, as an organization, we also tithe. You know, we tithe to our home office, and that money goes to support programs like the interim minister program so that we can have Reverend Karen Lindsay come here for a year, right, to help us out. It supports programs that help to spread this philosophy, the science of mind philosophy, all over the world. Like right now, we're growing quite a bit in South America and Africa. We even have people from those continents who watch our live stream. Hello, friends. And we tithe to local charities, right? I know the ASPCA is one, the Homeless Center, and there's others. And so we use the income that we get from tithes and from classes to benefit our community here and our local community in Bakersfield and communities all over the world. We support what nourishes us and our community and the world because we know the universe nourishes us and gives us what we need. So when it's time to fix the roof, we say, it's time to fix the roof. Do we have the money? Of course we have the money. Of course we do. Why set clear-cut, tangible goals? In order to create the world we want to live in, we need to know what that world is, right? What it looks like. So we form a vision of what we want, and we set goals to get there. Now, big goals like I want to change the world can seem lofty and a little bit too big to navigate, but that doesn't mean we don't have those goals. We just set smaller, more clear-cut, more tangible goals that get us in the direction of going towards our bigger, loftier goals. So I want to make the world a better place, right? One of the small, clear-cut, tangible things I want to do to affect that change is to teach writing at the university. And so teaching is a smaller goal than changing the world. But it doesn't happen just because of my decision to teach, right? I have to take small steps that get me in the direction of teaching. So I went to school. And I didn't know when I started school how I could get from going to school to teaching, but I knew that going to school was one step in the right direction. And at school, I found out there's a program to mentor new students. So I did it. And there was a program to take notes for the disabled. So I did it. And there was a program to help students whose first language isn't English to succeed in writing at the university level. So I did it. I tithed my time and my talent. And via the law of circulation, it has come back to me because when I applied to be a teaching associate, having those volunteer activities on my resume helped me get hired. And not only that, we have some new people that have come to our center who became members, and one of them is very highly regarded in higher education in Bakersfield, Nan. And she said I can use her as a reference when I apply to colleges here in Bakersfield, right? So I set my intention, I set clear-cut, tangible goals, and I took action from a consciousness of abundance. And guess what? I began teaching as a professor at the university in 9 days. 9 days from now, I begin changing the world one student at a time.